Hello.
Oh, hello. Sorry.
Oh, you're on the floor too. Okay, good. I was
What's
trying
that?
to figure out how to set up my camera the best, so
Oh.
let me
Yeah,
just
it's gonna be a floor day, floor morning.
floor warning.
Mm.
We'll see what
All
happens.
right.
Push this
A
back.
good morning to you.
Oh, well, it's lunchtime here, but that's okay. I'm still drinking my
This
coffee.
is true.
You
This
can't
is
see
true.
my face now.
Good
What's
morning,
happening?
friends. Woo! We have people.
Oh,
Yay! All
that's
right.
amazing.
So, my name is Jamie with the Kindred cat, and this is Tori with Purrsuasion.
Cat behavior
What's the whole
consulting and
title?
training.
Say it again. Sorry.
Cat behavior consulting and training.
Perfect. And we are just going to do a really casual chat on food puzzles, which is one of Tori's very favorite topics. That's why I wanted to invite her on. And so we can nerd out together on this very important topic.
We will. We will. 100%.
So, and let me know if you know of any other things that they're called, but food puzzles can also be called puzzle feeders, and I also have activity feeders. Do you have any other phrases for them?
No, I only ever really call them puzzle feeders. Maybe even just puzzles for short, but
Yeah, I honestly use all of those interchangeably, and I forget what I've used with someone because they're just, I don't know.
yeah.
Call them whatever you want. The concept is that, I'm going to let you talk about that. So if you could address why the why of puzzle feeders, like why on earth do we use them, and then we'll get into kind of how.
Okay. So I guess my favorite thing about why I use puzzle feeders and why I want all of my clients and just everyone who has cats to use puzzle feeders would be because they're great for working the brain. And I don't think cats get enough of that mental stimulation that they need throughout the day, which is why a lot of them can kind of, when you see that twitchiness or you notice that they just have a ton of energy, it's not always just play. Play doesn't always get all of that energy out. So a puzzle feeder is a great way to make sure that they're staying smart, they're working their brains, and they're getting that mental energy out too. That's my favorite thing about puzzle feeders.
So we know, especially from watching you, like anyone who follows you on your Instagram because you use them all the time, we know that they can help and be a really integrative part of helping to troubleshoot cat behavioral issues or concerns because it does give them something to do. Are puzzle feeders for everyone, or do you just recommend them for bored cats?
Definitely everyone. Yeah, every single cat would benefit. I like to, if people feed kibble meals, I tell everyone, no matter what, if they have an issue with their kitties, if they don't have any like behavior things that they're concerned about, no matter what, I tell them you should feed all of your meals out of puzzle feeders. My ladies, since they're on just raw and soft food, they can't be put in traditional puzzle feeders, but I have the slow feeding mats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important for every single cat, and every single cat will like at least one type of puzzle feeder. It might just take some time to figure out what they are good at and what they're willing to try.
I'm glad you mentioned the dry food component. One of my favorite people that I've learned from, Dr. Liz Bales with Doc and Phoebe, the company Doc and Phoebe. She makes a few puzzle feeders, and I love her philosophy where she says if you're feeding any kind of dry food, whether that's freeze dried or dry kibble to a cat, that it should not be in a bowl. And that's so true, right? Because one of the biggest reasons that puzzle feeders are so incredible is because a bowl is not natural to a cat or a dog, rather, and there are puzzle feeders for dogs. So it's not like puzzle feeders, and don't worry, we've got show and tell people. But it's not like puzzle feeders are some fancy, amazing, mysterious thing. Like you can get them anywhere, you can make them yourself. Tori and I highly recommend that after this, that you will be, or we hope that you'll be inspired to maybe go on Amazon or go to your local pet store, or DIY and see what's out there that you can try out.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that because it's just, if you're, I tell people all the time, if you're going to put this dry food in a bowl anyway, then you can take the time to quickly put it in a puzzle feeder because it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah,
But
Dr. Liz.
so much more rewarding and so much more work for your kitty.
Yeah, on the Doc and Phoebe website, Dr. Liz Bales, who is a veterinary behaviorist, which is so cool. But she talks about how in nature, you know, if you've got an outdoor cat that is hunting to survive and they have to kill their food in order to, live, they're not getting bowls of food somewhere, like at a feral colony. She talks about how I'm pretty sure she talks about how they can hunt for up to like 12 hours a day, which is so crazy to think about. So when we bring in these little captive carnivores and invite them into our home, it's really difficult on them for us to have this expectation that they're going to be perfectly behaved and want to come to us and just let us pet them all day, because they are designed to hunt, catch, eat, kill, murder. They're little murder machines.
They are.
So it is our duty to provide fun little indoor pseudo-murdering mayhem and fun. So.
I love that. It's true. And like, yeah, your cat, like, obviously there still needs to be the play, but this is just to get that, like, even just using their nose, like sniffing out things and just hunting. Like, it's so much fun for them. So why would you not?
Absolutely. So I have a little note that there are wet and dry feeders. So actually, let's just show and tell, and then we can talk about, what each one does. Well, so show me what you've got. Do you have wet feeders as well today, or just the dry ones?
I can go grab my wet feeders.
Ooh.
I can show them. Let me grab them.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just remembered I forgot my licky style mat. If you have your licky style mats, grab those. Okay, cool. One moment, friends. You can hear Cece? You can't see the cat in my field.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Okay, so what did you want to start with, Jaime?
Why don't you just walk us through the ones that you have, and then I can show some additional examples, because there's so many out there. There's probably 100,000,000 of them. Not really, but okay. There's a lot.
Okay, I'll start with the wet feeders.
Okay.
I don't really call them puzzle feeders. I call them more slow feeders, right? So that's one of them, and it's just a bunch of little divots. And then I just smear their food in there.
So
and same thing with like this one.
So the wet feeders are really great if you've got a cat with scarf and barf, or basically your cat eats so fast that they throw up. These are amazing for canned food and raw food, any kind of soft food.
And all of these you can totally find on Amazon, or you can find so many different variations just in like your local pet stores, your big box stores. So and this is actually Messy Cat's brand one. So it has the little like prickles, and then it has the little ridges on the other side, so you can use either side.
That is cool.
Yeah. So those are some of my favorite ones. Every single meal, the girls eat out of one of those.
Ashpag says, when you say slow feeding mats, do you mean like Licky Mats?
Yeah.
Essentially, yes. Licky Mats is just a brand. So yes, that style of mat. But there are some others too. Like I've seen other mats that, there's so many things out there. So there's others that have, I don't even know how to explain it, so I won't. But yes, in essence, yes.
And honestly, these ones that are a little more shallow, I think they would be fantastic for like already really moist food. But since my girls are older and I like to add even more moisture, I find that these ones that are deep are the best because when I'm carrying them up the stairs to feed them, they don't drip all over the place. But either way, they're fantastic. These ones would be awesome for even to slow your cat down even more. Freeze, right? So put your soft food on and then put it in the freezer for a bit, and then it'll make it harder to eat. Or not harder, but make them take more time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, cool. So now I'll show the dry food or hard food or whatever you want to call it. I put treats in these bad boys. So I have a whole box, a whole bag. You see, you can hardly see anything. Let me back up. Okay. So I have a crap ton of the Doc and Phoebe mice like you were talking about, Jaime. So I have 2 of the older style, which are just the open holes. Mm-hmm. And then I have 3 of the newer style, which has the slider. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are awesome because you can make it easier. So when it's all the way open, it'll be easier. Or you can make it harder by closing the slider all the way or halfway, whatever works.
This is a good example of I call it mobile versus stationary when I explain to people. So this is a really great example of a mobile or just, a feeder that moves around.
Yeah, and I should also mention too, off that note, is that Siberia, for example, my little orange girl, she likes the stationary feeders more. And Raya, she prefers the ones that, the mobile ones, the ones that move around more. So they do actually have their preferences on which ones they have more fun with. But yeah, those are the Doc and Phoebe. They are awesome, super great. And like you said, on her website, she has so much great information, especially about her puzzle feeders.
Yes, there's also help with how to use them.
Yeah.
And troubleshooting, that kind of, I think, or maybe that was from a thing that I watched that she did. But basically, if you have any questions, you can reach out to one of us and we could, explain how to get it started with a cat that seems resistant initially to one of these. Because when there is a will, there's a way. That is my philosophy with cats.
Yeah. I also have my YouTube video on Purrsuasion's page for YouTube. I have a video that's like an introduction to puzzle feeders. So if you guys want that, you can message me and send me the link, or just find Purrsuasion on YouTube and it'll be there.
Yes.
The other ones that I have are the mini Kong toys.
So, see, I haven't tried those before.
I really like them. I think that they're... Sorry, what were you going to say?
I wanted to know if you've tried freezing, because with dogs, it's so popular to freeze, kibble or bone broth or goat milk or whatever. Have you tried any of that kind of with the cats?
I've never done that. I've only ever put like freeze-dried treats, for example, in here, and then have had them kind of throw it or pat it around. I've even tried like a nut butter in here as well, but they were confused. They didn't know what to do, so I was like, a shot. This is the Slim Cat. You can find this like anywhere. The Slim Cat ball. So the way that it works is you kind of have to pull this little tab down.
Oh, I have one of those.
And then it spins, right? So right now, just those holes are open. Those ones there. And then if I were to spin it the other way, then these ones are open, right? You can have both of them open a little bit, right? So it's really fun, this one. Raya really loves this one because it rolls all over the floor like crazy, so she likes that. And then, so those are my mobile. This one is also kind of mobile, but it kind of depends. It's just the Catit, I think they call it spinner.
I have not tried that. That's so cool. How does that one work?
So if I were to put it on the ground, let's see, and then the girls like smack it around, right? So then it goes like this, and there's little holes in the silicone that the treats fall out of.
Very cool.
And then this comes off to clean it.
That is really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I really, really enjoy this one too. You know when the girls are using it because you hear smack, 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 smack.
Now, do they ever fight over any of these puzzle toys? And for cats that do or might, how do you recommend people troubleshoot that?
I've never had the issue of kitties fighting over them. I think that doesn't happen in our house because I typically put all of them out at once with just a few treats. So they know that if one is working on one feeder, there's like so many others that they can go and find.
Okay.
What have you ever had the situation where kitties have fought over them? What would you suggest?
I mean, in my household, I have to watch them because sometimes there will be guarding. So there's not usually outright fighting with my cats, but one will sit really close and, like stare at the other cat interacting, and the other cat will be like that.
Yes. I mean, if it's a
So,
really, really bad situation, you can just separate the cats. Like, it
yeah,
doesn't have to be an all-day thing. Just put them in different rooms, give them their fun, and let them have their time with it.
yeah, I agree with that. That's usually what I do if I'm particularly worried. My cats share pretty well, but yes, separation is a very good positive thing, and I'm a big proponent of feeding in separate rooms behind a closed door. So there's not even the chance of, guarding or trouble.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and then and I wanted to grab the
You have
homemade
some,
one.
yeah, I love your little, your bright ones, like the ladybug one and stuff. Those are amazing.
Okay. So this is,
Ooh.
I guess I'll leave this one for last,
Okay.
but these are my Nina Audison big stationary puzzle feeders.
How do you spell Nina Audison?
It is Nina and then next word OttoSson.
And then are these available on Amazon, do you know?
Yes, definitely. So these are the
I think she has her own website too, though.
They're what?
I think she has her own website too, right?
Yeah, and I should say it's also the brand Pet Stages made by Nina Audison. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
So the way that these bad boys work is the little like ladybugs in this one have holes in the top. So you can put treats in these little holes. And then if I wasn't holding it crooked, if I go like this, then you can see that there's little, what should I say, like indents, I guess you can call it.
Grooves,
in there.
maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, grooves, yeah. So if the treat was in here, what my girls would have to do, what your kitties would have to do, is slide this over and then slide it back, and the treat falls into the indent. And then they can eat right out of there. Also, these leaves fall, so they have to push the leaves aside. I've never found it to be too much of a struggle for them. They just push it and go for it, right?
Yeah. I noticed a lot of times when you buy a puzzle feeder, there will be a sort of difficulty level on there. Not always, but
yeah, these
oftentimes. So if you're just, like, my advice is if you've got a cat that either isn't super food motivated and you're wanting to try this out, or you've got a cat that isn't a spring chicken anymore and you're just not sure, start with an easy one that makes it super easy. And you want to set them up for success. I'll show you when you see when I do my show and tell with them, some of them are super easy and some of them are not so easy. So you really need to tailor that to the cat and adjust at their activity level or their I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I'm trying to think of a word too.
We want
starting point. Like it's just a starting point. Like
yes.
If I would never have gotten to this stage first off with the girls. But what happened was I started with the easier ones, like the Kong toys and the Doc and Phoebe mice, and they're much easier. And then over time, we started working on the larger. Quit calling the part feeder and stop. So Yeah, like it takes practice. It's like when you're teaching, I like to use the analogy of when you're teaching a kid their ABCs, you start with the beginning and you just start nice and easy and with just a few, and then you start to move forward and just help them learn more. Um, you're very distracting right now. They really want to use their puzzle feeders. So yeah, like you have to sit down with them and you have to work with them and make sure that you're teaching them what to do,
Yeah.
and then you can get to harder things after that.
Right.
So,
Or you probably wouldn't start a very young kid off with chess. You would probably start with Chutes and Ladders.
yeah, exactly. Okay, and then this is my last one that you can buy. This is the same brand, same deal. It's just like the green one that I showed you is stage 2. This one would be a stage 3. The only thing that's different is it has this extra like
it's so cool
disc. And then so under part of the disc there's more indents. So like there's an indent. There's one right there. There.
Stephanie says she still can't figure out chess. Don't worry, Stephanie. A lot of us can't.
I also don't play chess, so sometimes you just don't have the interest. I don't know. Yeah, but that's all of mine. So, oh no, sorry, I've got to talk about
And
the one that has
gorgeous DIY. So if you don't have any extra cash right now, or you're crafty.
So this has definitely been well loved. Raya also likes to tear apart cardboard, so it has some extra flair. But what I've done is it's just a piece of cardboard, and then these are egg carton rolls, more cardboard, paper towel, and toilet paper rolls. And I have
hot glue, or how did you affix it?
I actually use it. I used white glue, like non-toxic white glue. But I would definitely suggest hot glue gunning because it's just going to be more firm and stay in place better. Nice tail, honey. And then, but you would want to make sure that the glue that you're using is non-toxic too, because your kitties are going to have their paws and mouths all over this. And it's the same deal. We just throw some treats in here, and then they just rummage through. I find that the homemade ones are a lot easier than even one of the most simple store-bought ones. I find that they're a great place to start because they're very easy.
I love that.
It's fun. The girls love it. They like to eat the cardboard too, so bonus.
Yes. So regarding homemade, one of my favorite things, if you buy eggs and you get the cardboard, because I wouldn't recommend the plastic or the styrofoam, but super simple food puzzle is to just grab like a cardboard egg carton, and if you're starting out and you're teaching levels on and back and forth to the potty box, to make it easy, you can simply just put a few pieces in there and then you can leave it open. And then if you're wanting to make it a little bit harder, you can just, close it. And you could even, when I was first teaching Yeti how to use the egg carton, I had taken a couple of pieces off, and so he could get his paw in there. But now we're at the point where he needs the difficulty level because he gets it so fast. So I close it entirely and I put a rubber band around it. And then he just, you said that your girls like to eat cardboard, or not ingest cardboard, but rip it up and tear into it. It's a substitute prey animal. They're like tearing off the feathers, the fur. They do this with egg carton, and he loves to sink his teeth into that and like kick it and move it around. So that's a really great byproduct that you can use, byproduct of recycles, I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention too, you don't have to make like a huge board, right? It doesn't have to be a big stationary one. You can even just take one of these toilet paper rolls and then close each end and just cut holes in it, right?
Yes.
And it becomes like a Doc and Phoebe mouse. So you don't have to make you don't have to make a big stationary one. Yes. You can just do a small one. Also, one thing that I love that I saw at our Humane Society was they took brown paper lunch bags, and they would put they'd open it, put treats in, and then they would close it shut completely so it was flat again. So the kitties had to tear through the paper to get to it. I love that.
I've never thought of doing that one. That's so simple and amazing.
And they get to use their claws and tear it apart. Like, oh, they love that.
I love that. Or, tissue paper. I've seen people do either low storage tubs, or even you can even just as simple as lay down a piece of tissue paper, put up a few pieces and lay down more tissue paper and let them, go through that. I mean, just the sky's the limit with what you can do.
Along with some lines too, just like taking a paper bag and stuffing it with, like you said, tissue paper or just rolled up paper or whatever. And then it becomes like a little scavenger hunt in there.
That's a really good idea. Yep.
Okay, where to show yours?
I will show mine. I'm going to try and go quickly. So this, I think, is from PetSafe. It's called the Fishbowl.
Oh, okay.
So it moves around. It's, round on the bottom. This is a great one for beginners or cats that really like to use their paws when they eat. Not so great for really, really hungry, overzealous cats, because they'll flip it and then it will turn over and they'll get everything out at once. So this is great for, or if you've got a cat with some arthritis, that's a really great beginner one. Again, I think it's called the Fishbowl. This is one of my favorites. Unfortunately, they don't make it anymore, but they make one from Cat-It that is similar, and they're like Mario style tubes, so they're easy to wash. Again, really great for cats that just love using their hands to eat, their paws. I think most people have probably seen these, like if you've gone to any pet store. These are marketed for dogs. They do have cat versions. The dog ones work fine, because whereas a dog is meant to use their tongue, the cats will just use their paws and move them around and fling them out. So, and that can be used, it could be used as a wet feeder. It might be a little messy that way though. We call this the chemistry set.
Oh, I love that one. I need to get that one.
Yeti is so good at this that he will stop it. He'll stop it while it's upside down and hold it with his paw, and then it will come out.
What a donut. I love him. He's so smart.
And then there's this piece, so then he'll have to, so this is more of an advanced, I would call this more intermediate, geared toward intermediate or advanced. I
think it would be great for young cats too. Like, it's great for young cats just to get to spin that thing over and over again. Yeah.
Here's a beginner one, I would say. Great for smaller cats or kittens. This is the Doc and Phoebe product. And it's small and it's got pretty big size holes. So you could get away with most size foods or treats in that. And then I've got the Doc and Phoebe. This is the wet feeder. So if you, it's made, I don't know what exactly it's made with, but it is dishwasher safe. So are the dry ones, but I do recommend hand washing the dry feeders, the dry mouse.
Yeah,
because they warp a little bit, kind of. But this guy, dishwasher safe, and you can use that with canned food or raw food. And then my favorite, this one was just from Amazon. This is a good beginner one. Same, move that around. Yeah. You could use that for canned or dry pieces. My very favorite, which again is marketed towards dogs, and they've got various, where's my tricks? Oh, forgot about that one. This one would be more intermediate to advanced. This has different pieces. Oh, I'm missing a drawer. The drawer pulls out. This they have to figure out how to open up. This they have to flip this way, and this pulls out. So I will. Celeste is like sitting there. She knows things are happening, so I will.
Yeah, I was about to set some up for my ladies too.
I'll get that set up for her. Let's set them up. And then I was going to share some of my very favorite, I'm curious as to what your favorite things to use are. I only have freeze-dried things because I don't feed dry kibble at home. But one of my favorite dry crunchy things, Celeste, you have to move, is Vital Essentials, the mini nibs. This is a complete and balanced dry cat food that you can use as a treat or etc. Okay, and then I like small batch bites. Those are pretty good. I don't know if you can get all these things in Canada.
I don't think you can get any of those unless you were from Amazon.
Okay.
But some of my favorites are definitely Feline Natural, because you can break them into smaller. Woo-hoo! Yeah, you got them right there.
Yes, this is those like are a favorite for us.
Those are definitely some of my favorites. Honestly, I would just say any freeze-dried, as long as it's a good brand of freeze-dried, is a great treat. We don't have kibble either. We don't have kibble in our home. So I also use just freeze-dried. I also have I have some green juju. I have some Meow, New Zealand pet food company. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they just, anything that can be split small and work well in a puzzle feeder, hold its shape, I think would be a great treat.
Yes.
And again, freeze-dried, because it's a great quality treat and it's not full of a bunch of crud that your kitties don't eat.
Mm-hmm. So Celeste she was silent this entire time and now she's purring.
Yeah. Ryan just saw what I was doing and she's coming down. And she's going.
She doesn't want to do the hard one though. I'm waiting to see if she'll get into this. If not, I'll make an easier one for her. This is one that you can get on Amazon too. I forgot about the Trixie activity board. This one's really cool. It's a kind of a bitch to wash. Wash it. I usually just put it in the sink and then drizzle some soap on it and, aim the sprayer at it because it's so many grooves. But this is a really a cool one that you could use for some wet food and dry pieces as well. So
I'm trying to get it so it'll show, but
then I like this recommendation for if you've got a cat that you're worried about weight, and you're watching their weight and you don't want to give them extra calories so much. Nupro Health Nuggets are a great way to go that I've found that most cats really like. And they are very tiny, small multivitamins in their little pieces like this. And those work great in food puzzles. They're really small though, little pieces. So you could give, a little scoop of the Nupro Nuggets every day as the cat's vitamin and use that in a food puzzle. I've done that many times. My cats love them. Also, just super healthy. There's like kelp in here and amino acids.
Yes, keep in mind that
garlic help keep the fleas away. So
yeah. The treats that go in these puzzle feeders don't need to be. I'm just watching Raya too. They don't need to be junk, right? They can be good, healthy treats that are still super duper rewarding. The more protein, the more rewarding they're going to be in general anyway. So you don't have to fill your kitty up with a bunch of crud just to do puzzle feeders. You can fill them up with great nutrients that actually add to their lives rather than take away.
Absolutely. So one of the notes I wrote on here to talk about was ease of cleaning and how often to clean them. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Because I certainly, like I mentioned with, the white one, it's not fun to clean some of these food puzzles. So I don't know. I mean, I probably just spot clean them with rubbing alcohol, to be totally honest. And unless they look kind of like they need a washing, that's when I wash them. But what do you do? What's your protocol, Tori?
I tend to do all of them at least once a month, at least. Otherwise, it just kind of, I do them when I notice that they're dirty. And what I do is I just put them in a sink with hot water and I give them a scrub.
Yeah, that works. Ooh, here's a thought I just had that I didn't really know the answer to, so wanted to get your thoughts. So for cats that are allergic to plastic or get the chin acne, obviously the DIY is a really great option. Any thoughts on other ones that aren't plastic?
I don't think I've ever really looked for some because I've never been approached with that problem before.
Yeah, it hasn't come up for me either, but a lot of these are made with plastic, so
Yeah, like all of mine are.
yeah, I think all of mine are as well. But
I think if it comes down to that and you can't find options that aren't plastic, then you would just have to be really diligent about cleaning them after every use.
yeah, I would think so too. Or maybe like the little, the blue mouse or this where the cat probably won't be putting their face so much on it and using their paw to get it out. So anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Can you think of any components of food puzzles that we missed that we should address? Or do you think we covered most of it? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like just the bare basics is that when you start with a puzzle feeder, start with one that's easy. Also, when it comes down to puzzle feeders like these ones, when you first start, have all of these little raindrops open, have all of these off of the holes, and just fill in those holes with the indents we were calling them with treats, right? And then put it down for your cat and let them explore it. Next time, maybe close a few of those, put treats in them, close them. The time after that, put treats in the actual little sliders. So just start in the easiest increment and then go harder and harder.
Yes, actually, that's a really, thank you for explaining that. And I just had to do that with Celeste. I had to start this one for her and leave it partially open because she was sitting there and staring at it.
Yep.
And it's been at least a month or two since I've given her this one, and I think she's forgotten how to use it. And so it's interesting because the motivation goes down when they perceive that they can't get it, and sometimes they won't even try. So the goal with food puzzles is to never set a cat up to be frustrated. That's something that I learned in a webinar maybe a year or two ago, and it was just not something that was on my brain always. And then I thought that was really, really important, with just like you were saying, we have to teach these cats. I mean, sometimes they can figure out how to use it themselves, but it's really powerful to guide them through it. So, with something that has a drawer that they have to open, you open it for them first, or you open it a little bit and you let them figure out the rest of the way. And this goes for dogs as well, because the goal is you want to facilitate them mastering it over time. You don't want them to just sit there and get frustrated and feel like, I smell it, but I don't know how to get the yummy things, and this is infuriating for me.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Off of that too, I do my best to pick up puzzle feeders when they're empty because I don't want the girls going to them and trying to solve them, and then there's no treat in it.
Because it smells like residual treats. Because
that would be very frustrating. So I do my best to pick them up. Like even just then, I was picking up the ones that she had finished with. We don't want, like you said, you don't want to create frustration. You want it to be fun. It's supposed to be challenging, but not impossible for that animal.
Absolutely. Very, very good. Jeez. Like this is TV for me. This is so cute. I love. If anyone watching has not tried a food puzzle with their cat before, helping them figure it out. It's just the most fun thing.
Oh, I also wanted to add too that I may have kind of said it already, but each puzzle feeder doesn't need a ton of treats in it. So if I were to put out all of these puzzle feeders at once,
Mm-hmm.
I would do like maybe 2 treats in each of them. Even the big ones
Yeah.
might only get like 3 treats. Because you don't want to, if I feed them too much with the puzzle feeder, they'll throw it up because it's dry food or it's freeze dried food.
Yeah.
And it
And
can make their tummies upset if they get too much. And it doesn't have to be a ton for it to be fun.
yeah. Yep. And you don't have to use so many food puzzles. You can just have one. That's totally cool. It's nice to have a couple different options, just like with toys, you know, or so the cat doesn't get bored. But um, you know, some of them are not cheap. So if you want to buy one, you want to just start with one and use that every day or, you know, a few times a week for a few months and then get another one later. Awesome. That's great. Your cat will thank you.
Yeah, it's not like all these puzzle feeders that have accumulated have been over years. It hasn't been like, oh, let's just go buy all of these at once because,
Yeah.
and especially if you're starting, right? You need to figure out, like I was saying with Raya, what Raya likes is the ones that move around a little more. What Sai likes is the ones that stay stationary. So you want to make sure you're buying ones that your cats will actually enjoy because they can be um, an investment when you're buying many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Although I think if you're like with what you do where you use them for the soft food, I feel like for someone like me, it would be very advantageous to have multiples of those so that you don't have to wash them after every single use and you've got a few. You know, if you're feeding all of your canned food in them, for example, then it might be nice to get 4 or something.
Yeah.
So you can just soak them and think when the other ones are being used.
I have six right now, so they get fed 3 times a day. So by the end of the day, I've used all the puzzle feeders, and even watching them every single day, like all of them every single day, becomes a lot. So you do want a lot or a few of those.
Yes. So, and just to clarify, Tori and I are not saying that, you know, like to add on my comment earlier about Liz Bales and how her philosophy is, you know, dry food should not be fed in a bowl, but she also, you know, has these for wet food. I personally don't do puzzle feeders all of the time. I still do my raw food in bowls because for me to do that with all of my cats would be very time consuming and messy for me. So I just do the freeze dried dry pieces typically in the puzzle feeders. I feel like there's one more thing I was gonna say. Oh, the exerciser is a great one too. I don't know where mine is, but that's a great one. I think that one's from Pet Safe, and it's like a egg-shaped, you know, like that ball that you were showing. It's similar to an egg-shaped version, so it doesn't move around as much. I remember what I was gonna say. Yeah, I remember what I was gonna say, and that has to do with if you've got a cat that, you know, is arthritic, can't move around very well, a stationary one is probably a really good way to go. I would avoid doing a ball or something that moves around a lot for a cat that doesn't have really good balance or has pain. So just remember to, you know, modify it for meet your cat wherever your cat is at.
I think something like the Doc and Phoebe mouse, for example, would be a good way to get those arthritic kitties moving, but in slow, not having to chase something around the room way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Same with, like they should still be using their bodies a little bit, but we don't want to overexert them that they hurt, like you're saying, Jaime.
Yeah, I'm like channeling Rafi, and he can't do something like this.
Oh, poor Rafi.
But he can't do food puzzles. Basically, a puzzle is putting something on the floor for him.
Yeah.
But and yes, I agree. What I love about these is they're not going to roll too much because they're oblong. And if you got a cat with claws, you know, like a cat with long nails, they're going to hook into that and grab it out from somewhere. And that's really nice for them. So they don't usually get stuck under couches so easily.
Yeah.
So anyways, all right. Well, I feel like I touched on everything that I thought of.
Yeah, me too. I feel like we, touched the basics. And of course, like you were saying, if people have questions, they can just message one of us. We both love puzzle feeders, so we'll help you guys out.
Yes, and then Tori, your YouTube, if people want to just go find your YouTube because you have a couple of really good videos on there and one on food puzzles, what is the YouTube channel?
You would have to look up Purrsuasion cat training and it would pop up for you. You'll see my white logo white circle with the purple human and kitty in the middle. That'll be me. Purrsuasion cat training. When I search it up myself too, there's not a lot of different people who pop up. So.
Oh, do you have it on your link tree in your bio?
I actually don't have one of those, but if you go to my most recent post with my puzzle feeders, you'll see it in there. It's like maybe 3 posts down. You'll see the link that you can type in. Otherwise, you can link right to from Facebook, but if you're on Instagram, that's where it is.
Cool. Okay. Ooh, and one last thing before we go. Puzzle feeders are amazing for really, if you're a foster or if you've just adopted a really shy kitty that is not quite sure about their surroundings. It's a really excellent way if you can get one that they're comfortable using or like a basic one. She's finding the truth. It's a great way to encourage a cat to explore and create positive associations with their new surroundings, but also with you as the caregiver. So I love them for that.
If they see you putting that down and they get to have a good time, they'll be like, that person is actually pretty okay.
That human is not too bad. All right. Thanks so much, Tori.
Thank you, Jaime. I had so much fun.
Me too. We'll have to talk about this again sometime.
Yeah, we will.
By then we'll have more to show.
What do we need to talk about?
I'm sure we'll have more to show and tell by then. So
yeah,
we'll do an update. All right. Okay. Bye.